Have you ever wondered about the complexities of the human mind and how far we're willing to go to understand it? The enigma of the human mind has always been a source of fascination. It's a vast cosmos of thoughts, emotions, and ideas, all intricately interconnected in a web of mystery. We've spent centuries trying to unravel this enigma, to peek behind the curtain and understand the workings of our own minds. This quest has led us down several paths, from the philosophical to the scientific. We've developed theories, conducted experiments, and created a myriad of treatments in our pursuit of understanding. One such procedure born out of this curiosity was the controversial lobotomy, a surgical intervention that once held the promise of a cure for a range of mental illnesses. What if I told you that in our quest to understand the mind, we've ventured into some rather dark and ethically questionable territory? Lobotomy, a surgical procedure that was once considered a breakthrough, was born out of this quest. In the early 20th century, the enigma of the human mind led Portuguese neurologist Egas Moniz to pioneer a new form of treatment for mental disorders. The lobotomy, as we now know it, was born. Moniz's initial idea was rooted in a simple yet radical concept. He believed that by severing connections in the brain's frontal lobes, he could alleviate the symptoms of mental disorders. This procedure was thought to calm patients, providing them with a reprieve from their torment. The concept of the lobotomy was driven by a desire to understand and control the human mind. At its inception, it was viewed as a revolutionary approach, potentially transforming the lives of those suffering from debilitating mental illnesses. The world looked on with bated breath as Moniz performed the first lobotomies, heralding what many thought would be a new era in the treatment of mental illness. However, the story of lobotomy is not one of unmitigated success. While it's true that the procedure offered some relief for a select few, the reality for many was quite the opposite. The invasive nature of the operation, coupled with a lack of understanding about the brain's intricate workings, led to devastating consequences for numerous patients. Despite its initial acceptance, the birth of lobotomy was also the beginning of a dark chapter in medical history. The procedure that once held so much promise would eventually become synonymous with one of the most controversial and ethically fraught practices in the annals of medicine. The lobotomy procedure quickly gained popularity, leading to what we now refer to as the Lobotomy Boom. This period, spanning the 1940s and 50s, saw an explosion of lobotomies performed across the United States. It was a time when mental health was poorly understood, and the desperate quest for solutions led to this drastic measure. Lobotomy was seen as a miracle cure, a quick fix for a wide range of mental illnesses, from schizophrenia to depression, and even for behavioral issues in children. Yes, you heard it right. Children were not spared from this procedure. At the forefront of this boom was Dr. Walter Freeman, a name that has since become infamous in the annals of medical history. He championed the use of lobotomies, performing thousands of procedures. His method was particularly crude. He developed what was known as the ice pick lobotomy, a procedure that involved inserting a sharp instrument akin to an ice pick through the eye socket and into the brain to sever connections in the frontal lobe. This was the time when the drive for results often overshadowed the understanding of the human brain and the potential consequences of such invasive procedures. But as the lobotomy procedure was increasingly used, the medical community began to question its ethics and efficacy. The once celebrated lobotomy soon fell from grace, and for good reasons. As the 1950s came to a close, the once hailed miracle cure for mental illness began to face mounting criticism. The medical community and the public started questioning the efficacy and ethics of this invasive procedure. While lobotomy had shown some initial promise, it was becoming increasingly clear that its benefits were outweighed by its harmful effects. Lobotomy patients were often left with severe cognitive and emotional impairments. Some were rendered barely functional, their personalities drastically altered, living shadows of their former selves. The procedure, initially seen as a beacon of hope for those suffering from mental illness, was now viewed as a medical tragedy. The human cost was too high, the damage often irreversible. The ethical implications were undeniable. Was it right to inflict such harm in the name of treatment? The procedure was risky and the results unpredictable. Moreover, many lobotomies were performed without the patient's informed consent, further muddying the ethical waters. The growing discontent was not the only factor contributing to the fall of lobotomy. The late 1950s and early 1960s saw the rise of new psychiatric drugs that offered a less invasive and more humane approach to treating mental illness. Foremost among these were antipsychotic medications, which could manage symptoms of mental disorders without the need for surgical intervention. The advent of these drugs marked a significant shift in psychiatric treatment. They provided a safer, more effective alternative to lobotomy, hastening its decline. The fall of lobotomy was not merely the end of a controversial medical practice. It marked a paradigm shift in how we approach mental health. It served as a stark reminder of the ethical boundaries in our quest to understand the human mind. We learned, sometimes painfully, that the pursuit of knowledge must be tempered with respect for the dignity and well-being of individuals. As we continue to explore the vast landscape of the human mind, let's remember the lessons learned from the fall of lobotomy. The fall of lobotomy served as a stark reminder of the ethical boundaries in our quest to understand the human mind. Looking back at the history of lobotomy, it offers us crucial lessons about the human mind and the ethics of medical practice. It's a stark reminder of how crucial it is to balance the pursuit of knowledge with the preservation of human dignity. The lobotomy phenomenon teaches us about the perils of unchecked enthusiasm in the face of incomplete understanding. Today, we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, their experiences guiding our steps in the complex field of neuroscience. We have learned to proceed with caution, to respect the intricacies of the human mind, and to always consider the ethical implications of our actions. The history of lobotomy also underscores the importance of patient consent and the necessity of fully understanding the potential risks and benefits before proceeding with any medical intervention. As we continue to unravel the mysteries of the human mind, the history of lobotomy serves as a grim reminder of the cost of crossing ethical boundaries in the name of science.